What the fuck? Didn't even finish the countdown. That was weird. It literally went from 5 to 4 and then just started recording. But anyway, hi everybody. Welcome back to the Untitled Hoops Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about basketball, mainly the NBA, mainly the 76ers. I am one of your hosts, Sean. That is Marquis, a.k.a. Mr. I Hate My Life. For those of you who haven't noticed yet, oh, it's my cat. Okay. For those of you who haven't noticed yet, Marquis has a different setup. He's having some technical difficulties with his computer, and he's very sad about it, as you can see from his face. Also, he lost his beanie, which is why he has on a hoodie. So that's that. But
everything in my life sucks, you know. James Harden gets injured. Tyrese Maxey gets injured.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid gets injured.
What's going on with Tobias? Because he's been missing the last 2 games, but I haven't heard anything.
They said it's something.
So that's why
they say it's something with his hip. There we go. There's something with the hip. And he sat out the last 2 games, but before that, he sat out the last 2 games. His name was mentioned in trade talks.
But my thing is, a trade for what? What are we trading for?
I made a trade that I really like in terms of spacing and or defense.
Okay.
And that trade is Tobias Harris for Josh Richardson and Doug McDermott.
No.
Why?
I do not want Josh Richardson back on this team.
Bro,
I'm scarred. I have trauma.
He can shoot. He's a shooter for some fucking reason now.
And
Doug McDermott's always been a shooter, but he's never been in situations where he could be just an off-ball shooter. Like, and on top of that, the teams that he has been on has not been good passing teams. So they're not.
I don't even want
him.
That's true. I agree with you. I don't really want to make any big trades unless it's trading Daniel House.
Think about it. You're basically replacing Josh Richardson. You replace him with Josh Richardson, who's a better shooter, who's not as
great of a defender.
But I feel like a lot of his defensive abilities are kind of like loud defense. Like he gets the steal and he gets the dunk all the time. Like he could read a play and play the passing lane. But I feel like Josh Richardson in a scheme where there's PJ Tucker, there's the Anthony Melton, there's the even Shake Milton who like gets swept under the radar. Defensive wise, it does not matter because you're barely playing Matisse anyway. You know what I mean? So it's like that, and then Matisse is also injured.
Yeah.
So we just exist at this point, and we almost beat the Timberwolves. So
we did. We're very close.
Very close.
I would rather trade Daniel House, Matisse, and Furkan for a shooter than to trade Tobias for whatever. Like unless we're getting like a potential, because think about what you're losing in trading Tobias Harris. You're trading somebody who's 6'9", 6'10", can shoot the ball, can handle the ball, can do just about everything, and also isn't so egotistical that he needs to be the focal point on offense. I don't really, but like I understand, again, it comes down to the money. He's way overpaid. But at the end of the day, what type of player are you going to bring in who's going to bring more value to the team that we currently have than somebody like Tobias, who's available?
But I would say, for the fact of, one, not having the ego, Josh Richardson doesn't have an ego. He knows who he is. Doug McDermott doesn't have an ego.
I'll go as far as to say Josh Richardson and Doug McDermott are not as valuable as Tobias Harris. I don't think so.
I wouldn't say that. For the simple fact that you get a shooter. We don't have a shooter. Jordan Niang is our only shooter. He's our only shooter. We can't keep passing PJ Tucker as a shooter. He doesn't even shoot half the time.
I think I think we could get a shooter for less than Tobias Harris.
But what I'm saying is, Josh Richardson's also shooting the ball at a 43% clip, and he shot the ball last year at a 43% clip. So now you have two shooters in place of Tobias Harris. You can move PJ to the 4, have Josh Richardson in the starting lineup, and then have them or you can have Doug McDermott in the starting lineup, because now you can hide Doug McDermott because you have all these other great defenders. Well, I can't say great defenders, because you probably want to bring Doug McDermott off the bench, because then you have D'Anthony, Shake, and like A.B. House sometimes to like help him out on that thing.
It's not that I don't think that they can be of use or that they could be of value to the team. I just don't know if it's equal value to what you get from a single player in Tobias, which you would have to split between two players in Josh Richardson and Doug McDermott, because it's also size. You're also losing size. Doug McDermott is about the same height as Tobias, but he's not nearly as athletic or as good defensively. Josh Richardson is pretty good on both ends of the ball, but he's also smaller. He's like 2 or 3 inches shorter. So, like, he can't defend as many positions as I would say Tobias can. So, either way...
But you do the same thing with PJ, though. We have PJ literally guarding Giannis, not even caring that he's 6'5".
Yeah, but that's also PJ Tucker, who's, like, one of the best defenders at his size and position in the league.
I would argue that Josh Richardson is a better defender than Tobias Harris.
Sure, but he's smaller.
But he's same size as PJ Tucker.
That's true, but is he as good of a defender as PJ Tucker?
Why can't he? Because I just saw PJ Tucker get blown by a whole bunch of times.
I mean, I get if. Listen, I'm not doubting Josh Richardson's defensive ability. I think he is a good defender, but defense is. I mean, it's effort. It's a lot of things that aren't physical. I think somebody like PJ Tucker, who has the experience that he has, can be of value as a defender in ways other than just physical ability. But combine that with the fact that he is a big dude for his size, for his height. I mean, it's similar to George Niang. George Niang isn't tall at all, but he's got the physical width to still handle a lot of guys down low. That was a terrible sentence.
Adding Josh Richardson, right? Let's say your starting lineup is Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Josh Richardson, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid. Adding that helps your starting lineup in the sense that everybody's not getting beat. Everybody's not getting beat. Like, Tobias is a solid defender. He plays good on like slower pace guys, but he can't do that. Mm-hmm. I feel like in a 7-game series, they're gonna start picking on Tobias. Well, I don't think they're gonna pick on the Josh Richardson. They would try to find a Tyrese Maxey. They'll try to find a James Harden, and then even off of a pick and roll, you can have Josh Richardson and PJ Tucker like they've done in games against like PJ has done in games against Giannis. Literally stay with Giannis even after the pick. You can have them do that. And then on top of that,
but I don't even know if
Josh Richardson and his stint with us was great. And even if like he like Ben is not the greatest with smaller guards, but he had a great ability of driving, making them drive towards the well. So that in a sense would help us definitely, because it's like literally what I'm saying is you replace the shooting of Tobias Harris with Doug McDermott and Josh Richardson, because they both have a good shooting here. You replace the defense with Josh Richardson. You're literally like, I would probably even trade Marquis in the trade just to make them accept this shit. Because Tobias, you don't have a first round pick to trade, so you might have to trade Marquis just to as a sweetener. You're literally replacing Tobias Harris and Marquis who barely plays with Doug McDermott, an actual shooter who's not going to dribble the ball. He's not going to try, even though Tobias Harris has made strides, Doug McDermott's a better shooter. Like a pure shooter. And you adding defense to Josh Richardson.
Yes, you're right. Doug McDermott's a better pure shooter. But I think one of the other things that Tobias Harris adds in value is that he can get his own shot when he needs to.
Josh Richardson can get his own shot.
As well as Tobias?
Not as well as Tobias, but if he needs to. But this is the whole thing, right? We're in a situation where we don't need you to do that. Like, how many times has Tobias actually get his own shot?
But that's the thing. I don't necessarily know if that's true, considering the injury-prone nature of James and Joel. And now we have Tyrese, who also has an ankle or a small fracture. Like, I think you want as many guys who can get their own shot at a high level as possible, considering the fact that we have star players who struggle to make it through an entire season.
But this is the whole thing. Only time Tobias is actually to do that shit is when somebody's out. Other times he's just standing in the corner. So if you have a Josh Richardson who's not as crafty in terms of getting his own shot as Tobias Harris, you have him. He is a good mid-range shooter. You can run pick and rolls with him and Joel. You can create things, and then on top of that, defensive end, you have, even if you want to bring, let's say you bring Josh Richardson off the bench, that is Anthony Melton and Josh Richardson was shaking on. That gives you, even though George Niang, also, you gotta shout George Niang out, because he fucking had to switch on to Giannis, guard Drew Holiday in like the same fucking possession, and neither one of them could get a fucking shot off. Like he was playing defense that Milwaukee game. Like he was literally playing defense. And George Niang, like that's what I'm saying. Like he's showing his head as a better defender than I even give him credit for. So it's like we have a whole bunch of defenders. I think adding those guys who can shoot, and also Josh Richardson, in Josh Richardson's case, has a little bit more shot creating ability. That could bode well for us.
I mean, for me, it's like tomato. I think either way we're fine. It's just a matter of getting everybody on the floor. But I really would prefer not to trade Tobias until I know I can get somebody. Like I would because of the nature of the team right now. Like we have a lot of talent. I don't really want to trade a starter unless I'm getting somebody who can start and fill the hole that they have left.
It's like pick a player. I personally would probably. It's really hard because with James Harden and Tyrese Maxey to put Doug McDermott into that starting lineup.
Right.
It would really be hard. But Josh Richardson could be there. Doug McDermott could come off the bench. And it could be literally to the fact of what I was trying to say. I'm going to hop into Charles Bassey because I'm the leader of the fucking Charles Bassey fan club. We're going to hop into that shit later because he's legit what the fucking Sixers need. But we're going to hop into that later. Literally, you can, depending on the matchup, you can interchange Doug McDermott and Josh Richardson because none of them are entitled to start. It's not like Tobias Harris. You can't have Tobias Harris come on the bench. If he's having a cold spell, you just have to live with it.
I think I would rather. I think if we're. I think I would rather talk. I would rather have somebody like Devin Vassell. If it has to be the Spurs, I would much rather have. I know, but if you're giving up Tobias Harris, I would do Tobias Harris and Matisse Thybulle for Devin Vassell and Doug McDermott.
That's not going to happen. That's not.
Like I can't.
You think the Spurs are going to trade a 22-year-old who's averaging 17 points a game, shooting like again they're 50% from three for Tobias Harris?
I mean, I think Tobias gives you the equal amount of production, but you're right, he's a lot older. I think Matisse is obviously a great pick, but they're not trying to win, but they've kind of been winning.
Let's be honest. That's not their long year.
I know. They want Wemby, but but you got to understand too, Marquis, the way that the season's kind of been working out, I don't think the Spurs are going to be able to lose enough games anyway. Because, I mean, at this point, they're competing with LA and, like, some of these other teams that are truly terrible. And the Spurs just aren't losing enough. So, I don't know if, like, LA's 2-5. Houston's 1-8. Like, Orlando's 2-7. I don't know if the Spurs are really losing enough games. Huh?
We're only 16
What'd you say?
into the season, though. It's not like...
I understand that.
Games. So it's not like we're at game fucking 70 and are like, what the fuck are they doing? You know what I mean? Like, it's literally you can lose at any point. You know what I mean? And, like, sooner or later, they're going to go into that shit. Like, they're going to want to be competitive to say they're competitive because they don't want Adam Silver on there.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Their goal is to get a high draft pick. Because the last thing you want to be is an overachieving team with, like, really nothing to really push you over. As good as Devin Vassell is, as good as Keon Johnson? Is it Keon Johnson? Keldon Johnson. As good as them, neither one of them are, like, they're like complementary pieces to something.
Who? Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson?
Yeah, they're complementary pieces to something. They're not, you know what I mean? And as well as they have been performing so far, you're not expecting that to keep up. We're not. They're a fantastically coached team, but sooner or later, once everybody starts to find their footing, because half of the league is fucking injured. Kawhi literally just came back yesterday. Like, half of the league is injured. And once everybody starts to find their footing again, they're going to go down. It's just like that.
I mean, I don't disagree with you necessarily, but I think I'll be more in line or in agreement once I see it happen. Because I don't see the Spurs dropping below the Rockets. Like, I don't see them dropping below the Magic. I don't see them dropping below.
But this is the thing.
Not the Magic. Excuse me, the Pistons.
This is the thing. It's not like it used to be.
I know with the lottery. I know
aren't like there used to be. Like,
but they still have to make the top 5.
You can be but you don't have to make the top 5.
I thought you had to make the top 5 or top 7, something like that.
You just don't have. You just can't be in the playoffs.
Oh, when did they do that?
To get a lottery pick?
No, not to get a lottery pick. To get a top 5 pick. To get a top 3 pick. Excuse me. To get a top 3 pick, you have to be like somewhere within the top 5 or 7.
No, there's been multiple teams that have supposed to go on drafted 10th that was in the top 5. Like,
no, to get a top 3, to get a top 3 pick, to get a chance at Wemby, you have to be within the bottom 5 teams. Like, your chances of getting a top 3 pick, you have to be basically within the top 5 or bottom 5
they have
of the league.
They have a higher chance of getting it. But, like, quite literally, anybody who's in that 14, like, they have a legit chance. And I don't think they're going to, like, the Spurs aren't going to be, they're going to probably be the 4th team in the NBA, though.
But that's the thing, like, are you trying to get a lottery pick or are you trying to get Wemby? Like, that's the difference. But
this is the whole thing. This is the whole thing with the Spurs and what everybody's looking at. Yes, everybody's looking at Wemby. Everybody's looking at Scoop. But this draft class is deeper than them. They are the faces of the draft.
No, I know.
But this draft class is way deeper than them.
That's true.
They are the people going in. They are the for sure thing. But it's like literally. That's the reason the Nets pushed their pick back to this year. That's the reason they let us take our pick last year. This draft is deep.
But if you're the Spurs, it's the same question. Like, do you want to just get a lottery pick or do you want to be high in the lottery? Because no matter what they do, they're going to be in the lottery. So my question is, do you want to trade one of your complementary pieces who are not going to be stars in this league, like a Devin Vassell or Keldon Johnson, to get more picks? Trade them to get more picks and lower your team's chances of winning games, therefore increasing your chances of getting a top 3 pick this year in a very deep draft? Or do you want to keep them and keep doing what you're doing and, just get a lottery pick?
But I feel like either way, Spurs are going to have like a top 7 pick, regardless. I just feel like there's not going to be. They're going to fall up, and there's not going to be too many teams in that range anyway. Like Orlando, Lakers, you say if the Lakers don't have their pick, it's going to the fucking Pelicans, and like what I'm saying, the teams you listed, that's about like three or 4 teams. They're going to
Charlotte,
be
Detroit, Orlando. Charlotte, Detroit, Orlando, LA, Houston.
I expect Detroit to pick it up, but then again, Kate is probably going to be out for a little bit.
Yep.
But I just don't think it's going. This thing is going to last long. And you're talking about Devin Sell, but like I'm literally talking about guys they are literally going to trade regardless. Like they're going to trade Josh Richardson. They're going to trade Doug McDermott.
No, I'm not saying they're not. I just don't want to give up Tobias for them. I don't think they're difference makers. I don't think they're needle movers.
You think Tobias is?
Yeah, on any team, yeah.
He's a needle mover.
Absolutely. What? Absolutely. Huh? What? On what team? On what team is a guy who can do pretty much everything at an adequate to pretty high level, not a needle mover? And he's 6'9". I don't understand.
I don't see him as that much of a needle mover.
What?
I don't see that. I don't see that.
Wait a minute. But wait a minute. So a singular player like Tobias Harris, who has shown that he is capable of averaging 20-plus points a game when he is the offensive focal point, who has shown that he is capable of defending guys like Pascal Siakam. Even if it's not a lockdown defender, he's capable of doing it. Like, who can shoot the 3 at 40%, close to 40%, pretty consistently. That is less of a needle mover than somebody like Josh Richardson.
I didn't say it was less. I just don't see him as that much of a needle mover.
But I'm saying if you're talking about making a trade, you're trading somebody who...
I'm talking about the combination of Doug McDermott and Josh Richardson.
But they're never going to be on the floor together.
So you would rather have Tobias Harris than 2 players who can help your team in different ways.
But they're never going to be on the floor together. So it doesn't really matter. If you're talking about getting... Huh?
It doesn't matter if they're on the floor together. They're both on the
But I'm
team.
saying if you have Tobias himself can be on the floor. The combination that you're talking about of Doug McDermott and Josh Richardson, they cannot be on the floor together. Yes, I understand depth is important, but at the end of the day, it's the players who are on the floor playing that make the difference. You can put Tobias on the floor with anybody, and he can work. I don't think you can do the same thing with Doug McDermott and Josh Richardson. You have to split them up and use them in pretty specific ways to get the most out of them. You don't have to do that with Tobias. You can pretty much just put him out there with whoever.
I think you do have to put Tobias in specific ways, or he's just out there standing there. I said, he has grown as the shooter. He has grown as the shooter in the catch and shoot situation. But we both know that's not who Tobias is.
But isn't that more? Here's the thing. Here's my issue. What you're talking about is like him standing there. I don't see that as a Tobias issue. I see that as a coaching issue. I see that as we're either not moving the.
We both know that Doc Rivers is not going to change that. Though. We both know he's not going to change that.
But in my opinion, the real issue here is that, not Tobias. In my head, the solution is coaching, not let's trade Tobias.
But
you know what I mean?
Thing.
I think the. Go ahead.
This is my whole thing. If we're going to go, Tobias is not the problem. The coach is the problem, but we know the coach is not going to move. And all this other shit. It's like it's not Tobias' fault, but it does come down on Tobias a little bit because it's like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Because the coach is not going to do this shit. Like we both know. Doc Rivers is not going to change shit. He's not going to change shit. He's going to run things through Joel and James and Tyrese, and Tobias is going to be the fourth option. And that's if George Niang is not feeling it, or D'Anthony Melton is not feeling it. Like that's like he's like basically using him as a fucking who did he have on the Clippers? Fucking he's using him like he was using fucking Paul George. Paul George was in the fucking corner. Literally, was in the corner.
But let me ask you this. Do you think the Clippers' problems would have been solved by trading Paul George?
No, it was a coach, but we both know that the coach is not going to move. Not this year.
But my thing is, I think the best solution is to fix the immediate issue, not to just trade the player. I think you're right. Doc probably isn't going anywhere. But if I was making the decisions, my decision is move Doc, not trade Tobias.
So this is my thing. They're not going to move Doc this year. They have a better. They're. If I have a person on it, they're going to move Tobias before they move Doc.
They probably will. I'm just saying that's not the thing to do.
And my thing is, right, you saying it's not the thing to do. I'm saying that we both know he's not going to do this shit. So why not bring in the players that he's going to play the way that he wants to play them? Because he's not going to play Tobias the way Tobias needs to be played.
The reason why I would say it is because exactly what I've been saying. You can do that. You can bring in the players who are going to play the way Doc wants. But in the long run, if Joel gets injured, if James or Tyrese get injured, you're left with nothing but role players. Or a person who now has to become the focus of the offense who wasn't before. So you have to change your whole scheme anyway.
But I would say this in the grand scheme of things, if one of those guys get injured, we're fucked regardless. Like if Joel
not necessarily if you have Tobias who can still step up and give you 15 to 20 points a game.
If Joel goes down, the season's over.
No. We're talking about down for the whole season?
If Joel goes down, the season's over. Yes, for the season.
It goes down for how long?
Yes. If Joel goes down for the season, like I was saying, you're done.
Of course. But I'm talking about if Joel, let's say Joel goes down for like 3 months. Do you have the personnel, if that happens, to get you to the playoffs? So that way when Joel comes back, you can be at full strength.
I don't know. Because
if you trade Tobias Harris, I don't think you have that.
This is what I'm thinking. You want to give the ball to James Harden. James Harden only gives Tobias the ball when he gets like 3 seconds left.
What?
He only gives Tobias Harris the ball when he has 3 seconds left to shoot.
But again, that's a coaching issue. That's not a personnel issue.
This is what I'm saying. Why not change the personnel? Because you know the coach isn't going to change it.
I'm saying no, Marquis. I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is that if you are an NBA GM, that's stupid. Why would you change the personnel if the personnel isn't the problem? If you know the coach is the problem, don't say, oh, well, they're not going to change the coach. Like, if you're the person in charge, what do you mean, oh, well, the coach isn't going anywhere? That's your decision.
But this is the whole thing. Neither of us is in charge. I'm going to buy legit what, I know. They're not going to do shit. They're not going to fire Doc. They're going to give him to the end of the season.
I understand.
They're going to use this shit as this James Harden, the Tyrese Maxey shit as an excuse. Like legit, like it's like I see what you're coming from, and like I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring the fact, but my mind is centered that Doc is not going to change shit. He's not going to change shit. They're going to give him the excuse. He's probably going to be here next year. This is all in my mind is that why not instead of like legit devaluing Tobias Harris and not letting him play the way he wants to play. He wants to play on the post. He can't play on the post because Joel's there. He wants to handle the ball, play make from the perimeter. He can't do that because James is there. He wants to be the cutter guy. He can't do that because Tyrese is doing that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like his value is decreased, and what I'm like trying to say is those other two guys would fit the team more in the way Doc Rivers uses his players.
I agree. I can't here's the problem. I think at the end of the day, what I'm saying is I don't want to get behind management making moves that aren't necessary. I understand that you're saying that that's what they should do if they're not going to fire Doc. My approach from it is like, I can't accept they're not going to do it, so let's try this. For me, it's like, if you're not going to fix the problem, then you're only going to make shit worse. I don't really care what else you do if you're not going to fix the actual problem. Sure, you can put a Band-Aid on it. You can maybe get the guys Doc wants, but if Doc's the problem, I don't care about getting the guys Doc wants. You know what I'm saying?
And it's not even necessarily, kind of plays into it, but like that's kind of that's how I'm thinking of it. Is like, and it's frustrating the fact that he's not going to do it. Like it's frustrating the fact that he's not going to do it, and that's why I'm kind of like, fuck it, just give him some people that fit his system, so he could look more competent, because he looks fucking stupid sometimes.
But my thing is, if you give him the guys that are going to fit his system to make him look more competent, does that even result in a championship? Because if it doesn't, then I don't give a fuck. I don't care how competent Doc looks. If it doesn't result in a championship, it doesn't matter to me.
This is my thing. The current way we're doing this shit, I don't think results in championship.
Nope.
So it's like damn if you do, damn if you don't. But in my mind, it's like, fuck, can we? Like, I'm like at my kind of like, not which end, because we're only like fucking not even 20 games into the season, but it's kind of like my eyes are like frustrated watching him trying to use players in the worst way possible.
Yeah,
and they're not.
I think DeAnthony Melton. I think if you're going to, I think if I were Doc, the best course of action would be to bring Tobias off the bench.
And this is my thing about that. It's like, it's going to be terrible bringing a $30 million player. The highest.
I don't care.
He's the highest paid player on the team, bro.
I don't care. I think the same way of thinking of like, oh, he's making this much money, we can't bring him off the bench. That's the same exact reason why it took us like 3/4 of the season to bring Al Horford off the bench when we had him. Now, that was a terrible signing to begin with. But I think that was a terrible signing. But I think everybody going into it thought, okay, well, why are we paying this much for what's going to be a backup center? And they're like, oh, no, we can't make him a backup. He's making this amount of money. But then by, like, the end of the season, it was like, all right, we really can't use him in any other way other than a backup.
But the reason that you had to make Al Horford a backup was because Ben Simmons.
Right.
Like I said this before, Al Horford could work with this team. If you had Al Horford out there, he could work with the team. He's a switchable defender, even though he's getting older. Basically, PJ Tucker, a better PJ Tucker.
Yeah, sort of.
In a sense that he's just not, he's tough-minded, but he's not going to do the PJ Tucker shit in terms of, like, fucking getting in people's faces and shit like that. But he would be a better playmaker. I even, like, with watching PJ Tucker, getting, like, almost 20 games of PJ Tucker, I would say Al Horford just is or better a perimeter defender. He's a way better interior defender just because of height alone. You know what I mean? Obviously, I think PJ is a better shooter, but then again, is PJ really a better shooter? Because PJ he has 3 games where he doesn't even take a shot, and so his percentages stay the same. So it's like, I would definitely, me personally, if there was a thing where we could get Al Horford, or we could do this shit again, but this would be the time we sign Al Horford versus the time that we get it, I would do Al Horford over PJ. And I don't think it'd be close.
I think if we were to make a trade, like if we had to make a trade right now, I would rather move Matisse and Furkan for Jay Crowder and picks, like 2 second-round picks.
They're getting better. They're going to get better offers than that as the year goes on.
The Suns?
The Suns are going to get better offers than as the year goes on, and more teams become a little desperate.
Sure, but if we offer them that now, that's by far the best offer they've received so far.
I doubt it. Furkan doesn't play.
I think it is.
He doesn't play. These trading 2 players don't play.
But they don't play because of Doc. They don't play because Doc doesn't value what they do or doesn't feel like they can play with the guys who are on the floor. It's not that they can't play. We've seen Furkan put up 30 points. We've seen Matisse go out and get like 6 steals in a game. Like, we know that they can play. They don't on this team because Doc Rivers is our coach. Like, Matisse Thybulle was an All-NBA defender in his 3rd year. Like, you can't tell me that other teams aren't going to value that, especially a team like the Suns, which is having a pretty good amount of difficulty defending.
I think the Matisse Thybulle part of it, the trade, is cool. But the Furkan, if I'm looking at that, I'm like, do I really want Furkan?
Well, you have to take him regardless to make the money work.
What I'm saying is that
we have to add anything to make the money work.
If I'm trading Jay Crowder, I want offense and I want defense. If I see that Furkan can't do shit offensively, and then I get only defense from Matisse, and then I have times where Mikal Bridges doesn't look like an NBA player. You have DeAndre Ayton, who does not DeAndre Ayton, who is wishy-washy just because he doesn't want to fucking be there. Devin Booker's not a great defender. CP3 is old. That, like, I'm thinking in a sense of, like, yeah, we want to trade Jay Crowder, but, like, Jay Crowder we're still winning without him. So it's like in the mind of, like, the Suns GM, we're going to trade him when we get what we feel as though is the right package. Because literally, him not being there, we're still a top 3 seed in the East.
With Jay Crowder not being there.
Yeah, with Jay Crowder not being there, they're still a top 3 seed in the East. Like, he has impact, but his impact isn't as strong as Devin Booker and CP3 and them flowing together.
But if that's the case, that works towards my argument, which is just get rid of him and get with something you can use in return. If you don't need him.
What I'm saying is they're probably going to get something better for Jay Crowder than Matisse Thybulle. For I would make one-dimensional players.
I would make the offer.
No,
I would make the offer.
I would for sure make the offer, but I if I'm Phoenix, I'm not accepting that shit.
I think you get 2 one-dimensional players, but they do literally both things. One is better for offense, one is better for defense. In exchange for Jay Crowder, who can do both but doesn't want to play for you. So if you don't need him, I'm not saying that it's the best deal that they're gonna get, but I'm saying I don't really see. And on top of that, they're cutting like $1 million in cap. I don't really see the huge drop off from a guy who's not playing to 2 guys who can give you useful minutes.
I think one guy that can give you useful minutes. If one guy's not hitting his shots, he's usually getting cardio.
Maybe, but you got to take 2 to make the money work. So it's like we can give you Matisse and Furkan. We can give you Matisse and fucking, I don't know, Jaden Springer. Like, we can't, it's not that much that we can offer you, but we can offer you Matisse and Furkan or Jaden Springer or, I don't know, Aaron Henry, someone who's on a 2-way contract. I don't know.
Yeah,
or picks, second-round picks.
All right, moving on from that. Kyrie is set to make his return today. He has followed the homework that the Brooklyn Nets gave him, and he's going to make his but his return tonight against the Grizzlies. Kyrie coming back, does that really change what the Nets are going to do, or does it just add another element of something that's just going to blow up again?
I don't think it's going to help all that much. I think the biggest issue with the Nets is defense, obviously, but the problem is they added Ben Simmons thinking he would solve that problem, but Ben can't guard everybody, and he's not the best perimeter defender on smaller guards. So, you know, like, Ben hasn't been the Ben that they wanted because I think they're actually expecting too much out of him defensively. And that's the reason why he's been fouling out so often. Like, he's having to play on-ball defense, but then also cover guys driving to the rim because they don't really have much of an interior presence. I think adding Kyrie on the perimeter does not help your defense at all. In terms of scoring, the Nets are pretty great, even without Kyrie. Having Kevin Durant and Joe Harris and, Ben can give you, 10 points or whatever a game. I don't really see how Kyrie solves the issue of defense. Now, unless they're going back to we're just going to outscore everybody mentality, then sure, Kyrie helps with that, I guess. Take some of the load off of KD. But they're not particularly versatile defenders, or as a defensive, unit, as a team. They pretty much put it all on Ben, which I don't really think is going to work. I think that's shown that it's not going to work. I think they need other perimeter defenders. I think they need role players besides just shooters. I think they need guys who can come in and be sort of like 3-and-D guys or just defensive guys. I think the Nets would benefit greatly from a guy like a Matisse Thybulle.
They would, but I don't think the
Nets
do another trade with the Sixers. I just don't. Just for the simple fact that they I think they forced the Sixers forced their hand with making the James Harden trade. So I don't think they make another deal with the Sixers for a player of the value, because like if we're trading Matisse, I think the guy that the Sixers are going to want back.
Keith, I'll be right back.
All right, go ahead. I'm gonna talk about Joel's absolute dominance. For the last 3-4 games, Joel's average. I'm gonna just read you the stats: 59 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal, 7 blocks. The next game against the Bucks, 32 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks. And then the game against Timberwolves, where we unfortunately lost, but not by that much. He had 32, 9, 6, and 3. I think Joel is really showing like the full skill set. Like last year, it was Jokic had a better stat line. It's showing what I was saying I was talking about Joel and how these last 4 or 5 games he has dominated the league. He literally had Giannis scared to come in the paint. Like literally, Giannis was scared to get fouled. And Joel was literally, every time Giannis was there, and he was around the rim, he was going to try to block that shit. He was always trying to contest or alter the shot. And these last 5 games, I think Joel has put himself right back in the MVP race. And a lot of people, was like, when I was talking about Jokic, Jokic had it because he had the assists, he had the points, he had the rebounds. Joel's doing all that. He's doing all that while also being your best defensive player. And I think that he has to get more credit for that. So you gotta stop like overlooking the fact that he is the best defensive player. And I think everything.
I think as the season goes on, if we do have a pretty extensive period without Tobias, without James, without Tyrese, and our production doesn't take a nosedive, we can stay sort of middle of the pack, maybe climb up a couple of spots, because right now we're in the 8th spot. If we could climb up to 5th or 6th, I don't really see any excuse for Joel not being the front runner for MVP, considering the fact that is exactly how Jokic won it last year.
100%.
It was literally,
100%.
He doesn't have any help. He doesn't have any help, and look what he's doing. Look how important he is to the offense. He may not be leading the league in scoring, but he's getting all these assists and rebounds. And it's like, okay, well, now the shoe's on the other foot. Jokic has Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray back. We just lost Tyrese and James, and Tobias is out. And Joel has still managed to put together a string of wins. We lost last night. We lost last night in a very close game. And some might even argue that if Joel gets that inbound, or if
George,
and I don't want to talk down on George because I love George. I think he made a poor decision last night in terms of understanding the clock. You have 4 seconds left. That's more than enough time for you to get the ball, turn around, and just pass it to Joe. Yeah, and Joel was open. They came to double you, and you take like a sidestep three, and the ball hit the rim as the buzzer was going off, you have more than enough time to get it to Joel so he can put a shot up. But, you know, obviously that's a what if. We don't want to dwell on what ifs. But it's just one of those things that, like,
the fact that we turned that game around in, like, 90 seconds. We were
right.
down, like, 8 points. Right. And we were down one with, like, I want to say we were down one with more time because Anthony Mountain had a chance to take the lead because he had that layup that I think it was blocked. So he kind of like felt the contact and like overshot it. But you know, we had a couple chances, and for us to be down everybody, and for Shake to step up, I think. Obviously, I said that we were going to go 11-2 these last games. I did not predict us to have no Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris. Also, we are 4-2, so it's not like we're out of it yet. But I do expect us to lose some more games. But what I was going to say is this is the perfect thing for the Sixers, and not mean like because we're going to lose some games. We're going to lose some games. We're probably going to go like break even the rest of the way. Hopefully break even the rest of the way. But I think this is great for one, Shake Milton's confidence. He had 27 last night. Mm-hmm. He had 15 the game before. This is going to be great for his confidence in filling himself. D'Anthony Melton has been playing great all year. He's literally the perfect player, the best. I think he's the best pickup this offseason. He's the best pickup. Yeah. And sure. I think it's by default, honestly. And what was I about to say? And Daniel House has shown me more. And I was one of the people who said I don't want to see Daniel House on the floor again. And for the last 2 games, Daniel House has shown me defense, rebounding, for some reason, some playmaking. And so I can't really be mad at Daniel House. Obviously, this has been the 2 games where he's done this, and it's not been, what he's done the entire season. But right now, we need everybody to be up. But I think this is a great time for them to build that confidence. So when Tobias gets back, when James gets back, when Tyrese gets back, that they have it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of the time Shake was trying to find his way. And that's a lot to, like you said, that's on Doc, because Doc wasn't even playing him. He was getting DNPs and Shake was healthy. So was Daniel House kind of deserved it in the beginning of the season. But because like literally coming into the season, I was like Shake to be the backup point guard because I think he's the best facilitator that we have that's not starter. Also, he can find his own shot. He has a little floater. If he's shooting threes, if he's hitting those threes, his three looks so forced. It looks like he's throwing that shit. But, you know, D'Anthony Melton, I think if we could find more players like D'Anthony Melton, we're good. Like, if we could fill the bench up with, like, players like him, then we're and finding him for Danny. I mean, and there's a chance that Danny Green might be available, too, so I'm going to throw that out there. I don't know how good he's going to be, but we need, I think we need another shooter, like another shooter.
I think it's interesting. Do you remember the 2015 Kentucky team that went to the championship? They were undefeated.
That was Pat.
Yeah, they didn't go to the championship. Excuse me, they went to the Final Four, I think.
The Harrison Twins. Yeah.
What Cal did, what Coach Calipari did that season was really Devin Booker. What he did that season was really interesting because he basically did what he called the platoon system, where they essentially had 2 starting. Bench, right? Yeah, they essentially had 2 starting lineups that they could put out depending on the matchup. They had the first starting lineup, which was Aaron and Andrew Harrison. I believe it was Cat, Willie Cauley-Stein, and I can't remember who the forward was.
I think it was like
the small forward.
It's like Marquis or something like that?
Maybe, yeah. And then they had the second starting lineup, which was Tyler Ulis, Devin Booker, what's his name? Jabari? I can't remember his name, but they had the backup center. Like, they essentially had 2 starting lineups. There's really no reason why the Sixers can't do the same exact thing. like, with the amount of talent that we have and depth now at pretty much every position, we could literally have multiple starting lineups. Like, 2 or 3 different kind of, like, lineups to throw out at any given point in time. And that would... Marcus Lee.
Marcus Lee, yeah.
Like, yeah. Like, if we were... Like, imagine if we made a trade for... I don't know, Jay Crowder, whatever. And we didn't have to give up Tobias. And we didn't have to give up DeAnthony Melton. Like, if you could put together, like, a team where your starting lineup is Joel Embiid, James Harden, PJ Tucker, Tyrese Maxey, and Jay Crowder at the small forward position, him and PJ are pretty much interchangeable. And then your second unit is DeAnthony Melton, Shake Milton, Tobias Harris, Paul Reed, and Montrezl Harrell. Like, that's a pretty good bench. like that's a bench that could start on almost any other team that didn't have the starters in front of it.
Oh, you got to talk
and that would put, in my opinion, huh?
No, keep going.
I was gonna say, if your bench is Montrez, Shake, DeAnthony Melton, Paul Reed, and Tobias Harris, that would put a lot less pressure on Doc to make the right rotations, because now it's like, okay, I can literally just take the whole starting lineup out and put a new lineup in and get all the starters rest at the same time. Because the problem with Doc is he doesn't know how to mix and match. Like, he doesn't know how to take this guy out and put this guy in. Like, his rotations are terrible. If you could literally get to the point where you just had 2 lineups and you could just put them out interchangeably, that would essentially solve the whole issue with Doc's coaching style.
I want to talk about Montrezl Harrell. Obviously, he had the shit with Giannis after the game. The full shit came out that Trez was trying to do after the game workout, and they were about to shut down one of the courts for an event that they had like the following day. And basically, I say this shit. He took the ball from Giannis. Which wasn't shown the first video. It was not shown in the first video. They just showed Giannis in the video being, looked like he was being a dick to the workers who were trying to take down the court. But really, it was Montrezl Harrell.
It started with Trez.
Yeah, it was Montrezl Harrell starting shit. And like a lot of NBA players, a lot of like fans are now, after seeing the full thing, are like coming down on Montrezl Harrell. But a lot of NBA players, former NBA players, current NBA players, are taking the side of Montrezl Harrell because in the basketball world, if you lose and
go home,
you gotta go home. And on top of that, and then what RJ Richard Jefferson was saying is, if I have a routine and I'm home and I do a routine after the game,
I get priority.
And it's my shit. You gotta get the fuck out. Like, you gotta go. Like, you gotta go. I get priority. This is my court.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he did that shit just to fucking miss. He fucking missed them air balls and shit. You know what I mean? You didn't did that. And I think with Giannis' current slump, these next games for Milwaukee are going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
Because these next was the first time in a while, Giannis looks worse.
Yeah.
Because of the free throw. Obviously, it helps that we have a PJ Tucker to give him a body, and then we have a Joel Embiid at the rim. Obviously, a lot of teams don't have that. But at the same time, when teams see him going down, they're just going to wrap him up.
Yeah.
Like, I would legit, if I'm going against Giannis and I'm a team that doesn't have the bigger body, I'm literally putting in a starting lineup somebody who does not get a lot of play time. And I'm literally going, you have 6 fouls, use them. Use them. Like, and I'm not talking about
that's the one
fouls.
the one thing that I can't give Doc credit for is that he kind of did the same thing with Paul Reed. Like, when we had to face the Bucks towards the end of the season last year, he was just like, Paul, go get on them. Use your fouls if you have to. And Paul did a good job. Like, he didn't even have to foul out.
Too. I mean, other than the fact, Giannis is gonna be honest and still get his shit.
Right.
That's fucking some shit. Giannis is gonna be honest and get his shit regardless. Yeah, he did a good job. And look, the fact that the Sixers legit had Giannis scared to get fouled.
Yeah.
Fouled. Like, he was scared to get, like, he was legit. Like, you've seen it. Like, you've seen Giannis scared. Like, you've seen it. And obviously a lot of, like, Milwaukee Bucks fans or fans are like, he wasn't scared. He was like, you've seen he was hesitant. Like, if Joel was next to the rim, he was not going. Like, he was passing it around. He was passing Drew Holiday. He was passing around to try to get a switch. And no matter who you switched on, it didn't matter who you switched on because the same thing was in the rim, next to the rim. They had Brook Lopez out there to stretch the floor. I mean, he was really effective when Brook Lopez was out there. Because Joel was leaving Bobby Portis open. He was leaving Bobby Portis open. Because I think Bobby Portis was like 1 for 6 with him. So he was just leaving Bobby open. So their best situation was when they had Brook at the center taking them out. And what I did not understand from Doc, obviously we talk a lot about Doc and his adjustments, is why didn't you have because Brook wasn't posting up. Brook when Giannis was in the game, Brook was at 3-point line. Why didn't you have PJ on Brook and then have Joel Embiid like at the free throw line guarding Giannis?
Yeah.
And even if you go, oh well, PJ's too small, take PJ out because PJ wasn't doing shit anyway.
Right.
Put in Paul Reed. Have Paul Reed guard Brook Lopez, who's a bigger body and can contest his three. And have, like I said, Joel Embiid guard Giannis like we used to before we had PJ. You literally had Joel Embiid at the free throw line. Giannis has to figure out a way to get past Joel, which half of the time he could not.
Yeah.
He was trying to result into doing a post move or something like that, where Giannis is not the best at. He's best when he has transition, he's building up steam, and he's coming down the lane. When you take that away with him, with a guy who has great anticipation, he has great footwork himself, you take away a lot from Giannis because it's like, fuck, bro, I'm at my max. And then on top of that, you're scared to guard Joel. I'm going to tell you what it is. You're scared to guard Joel, whether it's him not guarding Joel because he doesn't want to be tired, because he will have to bang with Joel. That's kind of the same way Anthony Davis doesn't want to be the center because he's going to get tired because he doesn't want to bang all the time and he's injury prone. But Joel was lighting Brook Lopez up. You as Giannis.
But also he doesn't want to foul out. He doesn't want to foul out because if you can't stop him, you have to foul him. And Giannis can't risk fouling out.
Yeah, and he had like 3 at that point. And what I was saying, like even in passing, Joel was caught 5. And you as the defensive player of the year, put that shit in air quotes, see that man on fire and don't go, let me guard him. Brook, all right, cool, you tried your best.
Yeah.
Brook actually had a solid game. Like Joel didn't shoot good from the field. He had a couple blocks with Joel. But when it count and when Joel went started filling it, Brook does not exist. That hand is not there when he starts filling it.
And not only that, remember, this has happened before. Remember this happened in the Miami series back in the bubble when the reporter asked Giannis, like, why do you not take it upon yourself to go and guard Jimmy Butler? And Giannis said, oh, that's not how Coach drew it up. Fuck Coach. Like, nigga, you're the defensive player of the year.
Go do that.
Like, say, fuck it, I'm guarding him.
And I don't want motherfuckers to go, why isn't Joel guarding fucking Steph Curry? I mean, somebody who's capable of fucking doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we've seen Joel. Joel's not a bad perimeter defender. He has surprises on occasion. Because there's been definitely times where he gets switches out there and I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, there has been times, and every time I say, oh, fuck, he finds a way to fucking prove me wrong. Like, when he got that switch in
Yeah.
the playoffs on Victor Oladipo, I'm like, oh, shit, he about to do some crazy shit. And then he fucking locks him down. It's so fucking weird. He had to switch on to Devin Booker.
Because
Devin Booker was trying to be shifty, and then he locks him down. It's very weird.
He guards the perimeter like an adult guarding a kid, like in pickup bat. Like if you ever see like an adult playing basketball with a kid, and the kid's like doing all this shit, and the adult's kind of just like, bro, I'm just gonna try and block it. Like, I don't care if you get past me. I don't care if you put up a step back. I like whatever it is. Like, I'm not biting on any of these moves. I'm not biting on any of these little like head fakes or whatever. Like, I'm literally just gonna wait here for you to actually put up a shot. If you drive past me, I'm just gonna follow behind you and wait for you to put the ball up, and then I'm just gonna try and swat it. Yeah. Like, it's easy when you don't try too hard, if that makes sense. It's a little bit like Kevin Love. Remember Kevin Love in 2016 when he had to switch out on Steph Curry? Game 7 in the finals. Yeah. Kevin just he just sat down. He just got in a defensive stance and just kind of waited. And just waited for Steph to kind of dribble himself out until he eventually he's like, I know you're going to shoot it. So, like, I'm just going to wait for you to shoot and then contest and use my height and size as a advantage to contest. I may not block it, but I'm going to get a hand in your face. So I'm just going to bunker down in a defensive stance and just wait for you to do something, and then I'll react to it. And I'll just use my size advantage to try and, recover. Yeah. I think that's the basis of Joel's perimeter defense strategy. Because it's also footwork. Like, if you have the good enough footwork to do it, that also makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. And Joel has some of the best, if not the best, footwork in the league, especially for a big man. His footwork is fucking ridiculous. Well, I had something I wanted to talk about, and it just wasn't on. I'm mad that I'm not at the beginning of it. It was a good point, and now I'm late buzzing. So you have something else you want to bring up?
I didn't.
You did not?
I did, but it's not related to this podcast. I had an announcement to make.
I think we did a solid hour.
We did an hour 2 minutes and 37 seconds.
And then I always love when we can't decide on shit. Like, when we're not fucking like going, hey, yeah, I also agree. I love that shit because it's like, no, I have to think of something to counter your argument. I fucking love that. I love that. Like, I'm
because the thing is, like, me and you are usually pretty like-minded. I think the difference is just the approach. Like, we both agree something should be done. I think it's just the approach. It's just like, I think something should be done, but I think the thing that should be done is just addressing the elephant in the room first. I understand management probably isn't going to do that, but in my opinion, if you don't do that, sure, you might cover the leak with some Flex Seal, but you're not. There's still a leak. Like, so. But on the other hand, you're thinking about it from a more like, we know what they're going to do, so here's the strategy that they should take if they're going to do the thing that they're probably going to do, which is trade Tobias. If they're going to trade Tobias, if that's the thing that they're going to do, then this is how they should go about it, which is correct. I don't disagree with you. I just don't think. I think that's not what they should do, and I think we agree there. Yeah. But it's just like, if they're not gonna fire Doc, if they're not gonna fire Doc, then here's what they're probably gonna do, and here's how they should go about it. And you're right.
I remember the thing I wanted to bring up because it was tied into the Montreal situation. Charles Bassey is setting record coming off the bench.
Who?
Charles Bassey.
Oh yeah. Wait, who's he playing for? I forgot.
He plays for the Spurs, and the Spurs sent him down to the G League,
right?
And immediately called him up, and they said, "There's no fucking reason for him to be in the G League. He is ready." What I was fucking saying, Sean. I was saying.
I remember. I remember.
I am the leader of the Charles Bassey. I was hurt that they let him go. I understood it, but I didn't understand it because he was the most like Paul Reed is so weird. He's a weird center. Charles Bassey is like the most he's the backup center. Like he's legit what you needed. A rim protector that can rebound. He can space the ball. Fucking shooting threes, Sean. He's shooting threes and playmaking.
Yep.
We just let that shit go. And I thought Isaiah Joe was going to be the one that really hurt us. It's fucking Charles Bassey, bro, because we don't have no fucking backup center. Our backup center is fucking 6'5". He's 6'5" with a fucking attitude problem, and he can't fucking dunk no more. His athletic ability is gone. He's only fucking 28. I don't fucking get it. We let a 21-year-old backup center walk, and he just bring the white back, man. Bring fucking Dwight back. Just bring him back. just get a private plane, take it to Taiwan, and bring Dwight back. Please, just bring him back. Like, I don't like. It seemed like a good thing, and I was gonna blame this on Josh, but it's not Josh. It's Montrez. Like he don't do shit. And he's for the last couple of games, he's giving us the ball because Joel hasn't been on the floor. He can't play every minute, and the other guys, how they try to keep one starter in the game. You only fucking have one starter. The other starter doesn't fucking do shit. He doesn't shoot the ball. He doesn't attempt to shoot the ball. And it's like, you're trying to get it to him, and he's not swinging. And that's what makes me frustrated, because like, I can't blame Doc on that. It's like, literally, you not doing shit. And
I don't think he knows what to do.
And it's like, literally, even when we have with Shake and Dwight Howard, Shake and anybody, Shake and Dwight, Shake and Andre Drummond. It's like they found a pick and roll and they played out of that. That was how our bench scored majority of the points, was that pick and roll between Dwight Howard or the pick and roll between Andre Drummond. And now it's like Montrezl Harrell doesn't roll. He doesn't roll, or when he does roll, he's not athletic enough to fucking. He's not athletic anymore to fucking catch a lob. So it's like literally. Bring Dwight back. Like, I'm not even fucking joking, dude. Bring Dwight, find fucking Boogie, bring Boogie out the fucking shadows or wherever the fuck he's been at. Fuck, I'll take Ennis Freedom at this point. Like, I don't know what he's doing. He is taking Daniel House's spot from me. He is literally. I don't want to see him in the court.
I think I think we were both kind of right. Because you wanted to keep Charles Bassey, and if you remember correctly, I had a player who I had sort of had my eye on in the second round of the draft last year. But you called me racist.
I did.
Yeah, you called me racist for assuming that him and Joel would get along. Yeah, but he's been actually doing pretty well as well for a rookie. For the Toronto Raptors.
Well,
he's been doing okay.
Charles Bassey's second year.
He's averaging 8.5 points, 7 rebounds, 2.8 blocks.
Of course he is.
And half a steal.
Of course he is. And our fucking center is 4 points and 3 rebounds.
Right. And this is, I'm trying to find his where is it? I'm trying to find his minutes.
He's probably some minutes.
All right, I got minutes played and games played. Hold on. 299 divided by 17. 17 minutes a game. In 17 minutes a game, he's giving you 8.5 points, 2.8 blocks, half a steal, 1.1 assists, and 7.5 rebounds on 45% shooting from the field.
Yeah.
Hasn't attempted a 3 yet, which is fine with me.
Charles Bassey
But
since he got this first, is averaging 6 points, 7 rebounds. He's shooting 33% from three. He's averaging 1.4 blocks, 1.6 assists. He's shooting 70% from the free throw line.
oh, wait a minute.
Why? Like, I don't. It's the simple fact that I told him not to do it and he did it anyway.
Oh, wait a second. I fucked up. I was reading Christian Coloco's per 36 numbers. His actual numbers are 4 points a game, 3.6 assists, 1.4 blocks, and 4.2 points, 0.2 steals, 1.4 blocks, and 3.6 rebounds a game in about 17 minutes a game for the Raptors.
So I was better.
So, yes, Charles Bassey is definitely doing better. But also, Charles Bassey is not a rookie.
Also, Pascal and Christian Coloco are from the same city in Kenya. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're from Douala, and I think Douala's from Yonder. I think.
Yes.
Yonder.
Yeah, Christian Coloco and Charles Bassey are actually the same age.
Oh, great.
But remember, Charles Bassey's been in the league for a couple years now. This is his, I think, second and third season, maybe second season.
Playing fucking phenomenal. We let him walk to fucking shine.
Yep.
Fucking Montrezl Harrell. What's these fucking dudes?
But their numbers are actually really similar, though, Keith.
No.
You hear me?
Are you talking about Christian Coloco?
Their numbers are actually really similar, though. Charles Bassey is averaging 6.1 points, 1.4 blocks, 6.9 rebounds in 17 minutes a game. Christian Coloco is averaging 2 less points, same amount of blocks, same amount of assists. I think he's averaging 3 less rebounds, but same in 17 minutes a game.
Oh, and Montrezl Harrell is averaging 4 points.
Christian
and 2 rebounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just the fact
in
that
how many minutes?
I said fucking like 10. I don't even think they don't even want to play it. It's the fact that I said this. And I said it's gonna come back and bite us in the ass. And it immediately comes back and bite us in the ass. Because Dr. Lee does not want to fucking play the fucking players because they're too fucking young. They're too young, but they obviously can fucking play. They're playing DeAndre Jordan over fucking Paul Reed and Charles Bassey. Charles Bassey, literally the fucking game that he decided to start DeAndre Jordan. In the G League, Charles Bassey had 33, 21, and fucking 7 blocks. Why the fuck would you think putting in DeAndre Jordan, who's a fucking foul master and has passed his prime 7 fucking years ago, to put that in instead of Charles Bassey or Paul Reed?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it either.
You put Paul Reed in, he does well. You go to the fucking press conference to go, this is not going to be the Paul Reed victory for us. It's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Do you not?
Yeah, that got me. That was what killed me.
It's like, bro, what are you?
That was what killed me. I was like, Doc, fuck you.
It's like, what are you doing here? It's like, bro, uplift him. Give him some fucking credit. And go, oh, he played great today. He played great. Oh, man, like, we going to need this next game for him. No, this is not the Paul Reed victory course. Don't get used to it. Bitch, what the fuck you mean? Oh, God. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand it. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, that is so fucking stupid.
No, not at all.
He is so stuck in fucking 2001, man. Like, literally. I think he has something against centers, because something against big men. I think he has something against big men because fucking Tim Duncan. I think Tim Duncan fucked him over by not coming to the Magic, and he just has some shit against.
But if that was the case, then why would he?
He has something against young big men. He was a young big man at that point, and because Tim Duncan decided.
I'd even take fucking Tony Douglas back at this point.
Okay, his name's Tony Bradley, and we're not going to disrespect
Tony Bradley. You know what I mean?
The god that is Tony Bradley. Okay. Tony Bradley was literally playing like.
I would take Tony. I would love to have Tony Bradley back.
Joel missed a game, and this man was playing like fucking Giannis, bro. This motherfucker was on fast breaks by himself. Like, it's
Yep.
It's so bad, bro. I don't know why it's so fucking bad. Like, why, bro? Like, why doesn't he want to be a coach? It's like, bro, if you don't want to fucking do this shit, retire. Fucking retire, dude. It's like, dog. Like, you fucking stuck, bro, in fucking 88. And it's like, I don't understand it. Like, I don't. It doesn't make sense. And it never will, man. It never fucking will. It's like, this is bad. Like, this is not, this can't be, this is not excusable. Like, this is not, what the, like, it's like, literally, they're like, we believe in Doc. We're gonna hold his hand. You know, we believe him, we hired him. It's like, Daryl, you didn't fucking hire this guy. Let him the fuck go. It's not your fault. Elton Brand hired this motherfucker. Let him go. He's not your coach. You're the president of basketball operations. Let this motherfucker go. Like, literally, we could have.
But I don't even. But can I be honest? But wait. But hold on. But Keith, can I be honest? I don't know if I trust Daryl Morey to hire the coach either.
We could have had Kyrie.
I don't.
Kyrie
could have had what?
Kyrie, who's literally one of the best adjustment coaches in the fucking NBA. But we got Doncic, who lived in 1988.
Listen, I agree, but I don't trust. I don't trust Daryl Morey to hire the coach either. After seeing what he did in Houston, I think Daryl Morey is too much of an analytics guy to make the best decision. Because I think he's going to, same way he was obsessed with getting James Harden back, I think he's going to be obsessed with getting somebody who's going to run the offense through James Harden back. I think he's too obsessed with threes. I think he's too obsessed with like that kind of off-perimeter based offense. I don't know if Daryl is the best guy to make the decision to bring in the new coach of this team. I think we need somebody who's going to know how to set up an offense. No, I don't know about that either. We already went through that. Listen. We already went through that, literally, with Brett Brown. Brett Brown was the player development coach for the Spurs, and he was seen as the guy who was the guy to make players better. Then he came here, and he was not the guy to be a head coach. He was good enough, but he was not the guy to be the head coach. Sam Cassell is in the exact same position. He is the player development coach. No. He's partially responsible for making Tyrese what he is today. But is he a head coach?
There is a difference. Sam Cassell is coming into where the best player is thrown deep. Brett Brown came into where the best player was fucking Brandon Davies. Okay? There's a gigantic fucking difference in where Sam Cassell has been here for some years. Brett Brown came over. He developed players in San Antonio and had to come over here to where we played legit a fucking G League team. Like, I can't compare those two because your team is already made. It's not like you have to develop anybody, for real. Like, you really don't have to develop anybody. Everybody who has their own work ethic, everybody kind of is who there is. Obviously, we expect Tyrese to continue to improve. But I feel like Tyrese at this point is going to do that regardless. Like, I feel like Tyrese at that point is going to do that regardless. I think his mentality and his work ethic, he's going to move and progress regardless. I need somebody to go, hey, this isn't working. Let's stop fucking running it for the 17th fucking time because they know the fucking play. That's the same shit that happened with Brett Brown when we was in the fucking playoffs and we had to do that fucking inbound play against fucking Al Horford, and they picked it off twice. You ran the same fucking play, and they picked it off twice. Al Horford is literally calling out the fucking play. And you don't decide, okay, guys, second action.
I remember that.
We're gonna go second action. We're gonna go second action because obviously the first one, they know. Like, we've literally back-to-back have had
True.
the worst coaches and adjustments ever. Like, I think we've done it. I feel like we deserve to be in the Guinness World Book of Records for having the most fucking stubborn coaches of all time. I just think so. I think we did it. I think we fucking broke the Da Vinci Code. I just think we solved it, and then we broke it again, and then we threw it in trash, and then we set it on fire. I think that's what the fucking fix is. They find ways to fuck up things that should not be fucked up. It's just so, it's like they give Doc Rivers a puzzle, and there's one piece that he has to add to the puzzle. He decides to throw the puzzle in the fucking trash. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't understand. I give up. I might have a fucking stroke. Because Dr. Rivers is not a fucking coach. He's so... Oh. I got a headache. I think it's time. I think I have nothing else to say. I'm disgusted.
So, besides Sam Cassell, who do you think is a good candidate?
Mark Jackson.
Okay. I don't hate that. I don't disagree with that.
If not Mark Jackson, bring Justin Gundy from the depths of hell. Bring him back. Please do not bring in Mike D'Antoni. I will lose my fucking mind if Mike D'Antoni is the coach.
That is exactly why I don't want Daryl making the decision.
If Mike D'Antoni,
that is exactly why I don't want. That is exactly why I don't want Daryl making the decision. I think it'll be Mike D'Antoni. I think it'll be
7-3 again. I will lose my fucking mind.
Yeah, nah. Nope. I don't think that's the move at all.
That did not adjust. Like, you could go.
I think
he did something that was before his time. You know, he give him the credit, yada yada yada. He did stuff before his time, but now it's not before his time. Now it's the NBA. Now you're doing everything that everybody else fucking currently does, but you don't have the personnel to do such a thing. And it's so mind blowing that the coaches continue to try to do shit that they can't do, but they have it so fixated in their mind that it can work. But in reality, it doesn't fucking work, but they still try, son. They still do it.
You know who I would love to see us try to make a run at as our coach? Even though I know for a fact he'll say no, but I would still offer him the job, and I would offer him whatever amount of money he wants. Tim Duncan.
I don't know about that. I want
I think
coach.
I know,
I want to prove him
but if you think about it, what has worked thus far the past couple years for coaches? Fresh faces. Yeah. Steve Kerr going into Golden State. You hire a shooter to coach shooters. Perfect situation. Then you got Ime Udoka in Boston. You hire a defensive-minded coach to come in and to coach a team that was, at the time, struggling a little bit defensively, who also was a fresh face. Like, you can go down the list. Nick Nurse in Toronto. Like, you can go down the list. There's a lot of them. Brad Stevens, when he first came in. Like, fresh faces over the last couple of years have been what has gotten, even Ty Lue in Cleveland. Like, sure, he had LeBron, but that was his first coaching job. I think there are a lot of people, especially ex-players, who I think could be amazing coaches. And I think Tim Duncan coaching Joel Embiid when Tyrese and James Harden are in the backcourt, I think that's the closest thing that you could get to the perfect coach for the players that we have.
I want the Sixers to trade Doc Rivers to Taiwan.
Trade Doc Rivers
to Taiwan and trade him for Dwight Howard. I want Doc Rivers not even in the NBA no more. I don't want him in the NBA no more. I want him to be in Taiwan. I want to be so far from the NBA that he literally has to fucking show his fucking passport to get back. Like, I don't want him here.
I don't know if you. I don't know if we can trade coaches.
Doc Rivers for fucking a Kim Jong-un. I'm willing to trade him for one of one of the enemies of America. I'm willing to trade Doc Rivers for. I will. I don't know if I'm going to say that.
I think it's losing you. I think you're losing it. Yeah. I think you're losing it.
About to say,
I don't know if we can. I don't think we can trade coaches. I don't think the NBA is there yet. Even though I think you should be able to. I think that'd be cool.
Doc Rivers got traded to the Clippers.
That's happened before?
Doc Rivers got traded to the Clippers. For a first round pick.
As a coach?
Yeah. He got traded from Boston to the Clippers. Yeah. He's under contract with the team.
I thought he got fired in Boston.
No, he got traded.
I thought he quit. I thought he quit in Boston after the. I thought he quit after the trade, after the KG and like. Wow, really?
Look it up.
I did not know that. I gotta look that up. That's crazy. That is crazy. All right, then fuck yeah, trade him. Trade his ass.
Trade him.
Who would want him?
I don't know. Fucking old school team. Give him to the Lakers. The Lakers wanted him. They wanted him. They wanted him in the beginning of the year. They said they would
give him to the Lakers.
Doc Rivers, have him go back to LA. There's a lot of golf. He can golf all he wants. You know, he can eat all he wants. You know, him and
what do the Lakers have that we would want?
Can give us Darvin Ham. Give us Darvin Ham, and Dennis Schroeder will give you
just a trade, just a coach trade. That's it.
You take him. Fuck it. We have to keep Darvin Ham. Take Doc Rivers. You trade Troy Brown Jr. for Dwight Howard, and then you trade Dwight Howard to us. Dwight Howard come back to the system. Dwight Howard deserves to be in the NBA.
Okay.
That man took 10 threes yesterday.
Okay.
How many threes Montrezl Harrell took?
In Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Yeah.
He is Taiwan Jesus right now.
Okay.
He is playing like prime Dwight Howard in Orlando. Bring us Dwight Howard. I'm ready to see 39 again.
I can guarantee you if we get Dwight Howard, he is not putting up Taiwan Dwight numbers.
I know he's going to put up better numbers than fucking Montrezl Harrell.
Probably right.
He's a better defender.
I don't think Dwight wants to come back, though.
Dwight is at damn near 40. Is a better player than Montrezl Harrell. And I'm going to bet myself.
That's true.
That. This man can still get up.
Okay.
He literally does what you need him to do. He is a foul monster. But that means he's trying. That means he's trying, son.
That's true.
Montrezl Harrell.
That's true.
The only time people talk about Montrezl Harrell is when he fucking gets this shit with Giannis, son.
This is true.
He's averaging 4 points.
All right. We got to get out of here.
We have to.
We've been complaining for an hour and a half.
I don't fucking get it, son.
We've been complaining for an hour and a half, and Marquis is about to cry. So now for my announcement.
Spurs, give us those back.
Now for my announcement. Stop crying. Stop bitching. All right, listen.
I called it back
for all the people who have been paying attention, who have been watching these podcasts, listening to these podcasts on the Lights Network, we have an announcement to make. There is a big, big change coming. From now on, there is no more Lowlights podcast. The Lowlights podcast is dead. It's gone, and it's not coming back. So is the Bro Taco Alliance podcast. The Bro Taco Alliance podcast is dead and buried. It's not coming back. It's gone. They have merged. They have become one. The two podcasts are joining together to form one super podcast. So me, Marquis over there, Sedai, Tyrese, we will all be hosting one podcast together, the four of us, starting next week. The last episode of the Bro Taco Alliance podcast will premiere today being Sunday. The last episode of the Lowlights podcast was last week, right?
It's not going to happen.
Did you guys film this week?
No, we decided to wait till the merger.
Okay, so the Lowlights podcast is done. The last episode you watched is the last episode.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, tune in next week for the birth of a brand new podcast that is now the combination, the amalgamation of the Bro Taco Alliance podcast and the Lowlights podcast. They have become one. They have merged. They are now one and the same. If you have any questions...
When we talk about combinations, I think...
If you have any questions, you're about to make a Charles Bassey comment. Nobody cares. Stop it.
Of Charles Bassey and Dwight Howard would be amazing because it would be 3 million times better than Montrezl Harrell. It just would be.
Yes, that's true.
It would be.
So if you have any questions, please hit us up on Instagram or on the website, blackflagent.online. Also, we just recently had a giveaway. Shout out to the winner. Just heard a loud-ass noise. Shout out to the winner, Kiana, who is going to pick her item from the store that she will be getting for free. Next week, we are doing another giveaway. So be sure to follow us on Instagram so you can see the question that you have to answer in order to win the competition. That is all.
If we're going to talk about questions
for these announcements.
Let's talk about...
Ladies and gentlemen, this was a great time. We hope to see you next week for the Untitled Hoops Podcast. This podcast is not going anywhere. We love you. We'll see you next week. Follow us on Instagram. Go hit up the website. And goodbye. Have a good day.